going on, guys, and welcome to Anteiku Nation, where we game and we know things. And today I wanted to take a look at the other iteration of my Kagero DOTE deck with DOTE Dauntless and give my thoughts and opinion on this deck as of today. Yes, this is a revisit of a deck that I had previously done a video on, but I've seen a lot more success with this deck, and I want to kind of give an update, my thoughts and opinions on it, and why I've chose to run it after all. But before we begin, guys, please hit that like button if you like this video, smash that subscribe button, and click the bell so that you can be notified each and every time that I upload a brand new video. Okay, so we're going to revisit this finally, because this was a deck that I originally talked a lot of shit about, a lot of trash, whatever you want to call it, and I do apologize. When this deck first got built, and I originally put Dauntless into this iteration of DOTE, the deck was so clunky, and it felt so bad that I could not get the deck to work. I had so many bad games where I just could not do the things that I wanted to do, and I did make an angry video about it when I went over my deck profile of it. And so I wanted to revisit this, and I wanted to give some new light on this deck, because I'm sure, excuse me guys, that you've seen a lot of my videos where I'm posting a lot of DOTE fights, especially right now with my Break Right free version. And I've just recently become a huge fan of Kagero. I've always loved the DOTE decks, or the Draconic Overlord decks, throughout the years that they've done, because it's one of those decks, not only Blaster Blade or the Blasters, where it just always seems to get a new iteration. There's always a new Draconic Overlord and a new way to build the deck to keep the deck relevant. And it always fluctuates and it feels a little different, but it's always been Draconic Overlord. And I've always been a fan. Just some history, I did play it back before when the Break Ride first came out, and then we went into like G era, and we got the legend, or not the legend, but we got the ace, and we had the cross, and we had the DOTE Legion with a cross that we could do, and then we had like the ace, and it was all these cool things that you can do because you had all these different overlords. And it's just one of those very fun and just nostalgic decks, and I love it. I love Kagero. I've always been a huge Dragon fan all my life because I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. And so, like, I just had a thing for dragons. And I've said it before, I derped around way too much with paladins to only find out here lately that, like, I really do like Kagero. It is absolutely one of my favorite clans. And so anyway, let's just get into this, guys, all the intros aside. Again, we are still running Conroe. There's no reason to come off Conroe, guys. Yeah, you could do Draco Kid for the top 5 grade 3 search, but, like, why would you do it? Don't. And I want to say this, even if you're running Seal Dragons, because when I do get Seal Dragons finished, I'm still not going to not run Conroe. Conroe is just that good. There's no, you could run the grade 0, but there's really no point. Like, if you're running Seal Dragons, you're going to have Seal Dragons in the soul for Inferno. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're gonna have Seal Dragons. So run Conroe, please, for the love of God, run Conroe, because getting a PG just feels good. Like, I'm sorry, but getting a PG in hand is can dictate whether or not you win or lose a match is just too valuable. So anyway, in this deck, the grade 1 lineup is still the same as my non-Break Ride deck. I did not change the grade 1 lineup. It is still 4 Kershey so that you can filter through your deck. So Kershey says that when there's a grade 2, when your opponent has grade 2 units, then you may discard and draw a card when placed. Okay, so again, you drop 1, draw 1. Gojo's still the same thing, guys. You know, you rest them to drop 1, draw 1. Again, you just want to filter out and try to get to your DOTE. Like, the key thing is you want to get to DOTE. Even if you don't get to Dauntless, it's still more important to get to DOTE, because DOTE is still your win con. Like, yeah, Dauntless is just there to add that little extra bit of beefiness. He is there just to kind of add insult to injury, and he adds more insult to injury later on down the road when we actually get the buff to him, and it stops being a discard 3 and it's only discard 2. So Dauntless gets better, guys, and I'm super excited for that, and I'm so thankful that the Vanguards that be decided to hear our prayers and be like, ooh, ditching 3 and Vanguard 0 feels bad, especially when you have a hand size limit, unlike in the TCG where you can have hand for days. So anyway, I still typed in the heat nail. Again, by all means, guys, if you want a little bit more filter and the Kershis and the Gojos are not enough for you, run Salamander or run Airmo. But I run Salamander on that tech end so I can get rid of nasty grade ones that people like to use, whether it's Lanthanum, Sukis, Dorrance, I'm having a brain fart right now. The Liberator one. I'm having a brain fart. I can see it, but I can't think of it. You know what it is, and I'm sorry. I said it in my last video. Now I'm just like I'm crapping out. The brain housing group is not working properly. But yeah, he just gets rid of the pesky 7K grade ones that become a nuisance because they get power bonuses. So that's why I take this in. Again, you're gonna run Striking. Striking's just too good not to use, guys. He's a mini break ride. You get 5K and a crit. So like if you run Dauntless, if you go Dauntless first, all of a sudden like I'm mini break riding. I'm flinging a crit and damage at your face because why not? On those turn 2 turns, when you ride him, it feels good to go ahead and just get that Conroe going. Go ahead and throw down a Bellicosity, unflip the damage. All of a sudden I got a free PG. And next turn, I'm going to be swinging crits at your face. So you're setting yourself up for future plays. And it doesn't even feel like you're doing that because you're just doing what the deck is supposed to be doing naturally. And it feels really good. We are running the Berserk Dragon still because even though you're going to look at the deck, you're like, oh my God, you got a lot of counterblast in Anteiku. You've got Dauntless, you've got DOTE, you've got Dragonic Overlord, you got the Berserk Dragons. I mean, yeah, but you've got ways to unflip that damage. If you don't heal out of it, you got the Bellicosities in there, and so like the deck just flows. It feels more natural, and I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why it does, but it's just it finally just resonated with me, and it just does what it does. Because Berserk Dragon is just really good, guys, because you want to get rid of their interceptors, especially in those matchups when you're facing against like Pale Moon with the stupid turtle grade 2 triple rare thing that says when it dies, pull 1 out of the soul. Berserk just puts in work. It's like I'm gonna eat it, I'm gonna blow it up, and then I'm gonna eat one. So that's 2 of them out of the way for 1 unit. Berserk is just like Blaster Blade or Blaster Blade Liberator or Blaster Dark, whatever. I mean, these cards that get rid of interceptors are really good. They are very powerful. I will stand behind that as far as the way that Zero plays, that these things are very powerful and you should be running them. I did tech in this deck. I teched in the 10K Nehalem. I did Nehalem because instead of the Burning Horn, because for the most part, my goal is to be sitting on Dauntless Drive Dragon. I want to be able to break right over Dauntless if I can help it. Or, you know, on the off chance I don't get Dauntless, I did tech in 1 Weathercloth because this still feels good to be able to just blow up some units and still get in some major damage on their face. And this just feels good if it needs to be. So he is my tech in. We are going with 4 Dotes because that's kind of the point of the deck, guys. I want to keep restanding my Vanguard and just beat their face in while drawing cards and doing the things that I want to do. And we all know what he does. So, you know, you CB2, ditch a copy of them, and then you just proceed to restand and draw cards. Feels really good. It feels so good, especially when you break ride, and now you can use his ability first. So you go into the Dote skill, you draw the 2 cards, then after you attack, even if it misses, you can counterblast 1, restand, ditch 3, and stand them back up for another attack, and that's 2 more drive checks. So like in Magical Christmas Land, you could get what? Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 6 drive checks off of this thing, off of Dote on the Dauntless. Like on that break ride turn in Magical Christmas Land, you can get 6 drive checks. That just feels really, really good. You can do more. If you got all the counterblasts available, you're at 5 damage. You can do a lot more depending on how you're set up. So like it lends itself to be able to punish them depending on how aggro they decide to be with you, and depending on what your board state looks like. And I like this in this format with Jokers because let Jokers lock all your shit. I'm like, go ahead, baby, lock all my shit. Guess what? My Vanguard is coming at you because I'm going to kill your rear guard. Oh, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to kill that rear guard. Oh, guess what? I'm going to stand up. Now I'm going to swing at your Vanguard. And that's still 6 drive checks. In Magical Christmas Lands, that is still freaking 6 drive checks and draws and all the other hurdy-dirty things that you're doing. Like, it is still a beast of a card. And like, if you're asking yourself, well, how do I play against Jokers, Ant? How do I play against Jokers? You restand your Vanguard. They only lock your rear guards. So you punish them for doing what they're doing, and you make them pay for it. So like, if you want my answer to Jokers is you play around them, you don't give them damage, You don't give them that 4th damage so they can lock you, and then you just play to your pluses. You play to what your deck does, and then you just go and beat face. That's my comments on that. So anyway, the heal trigger is the original Overlord, because I do still run the original Overlord. This card is still MVP. He will always have a special place in my heart. He is very powerful, because on the rear guard, when Magic Christmas Land doesn't happen and this doesn't go off like I want, or maybe this doesn't go off the way that I want, there are times, again, jokers. Let's talk about jokers. Oh, you locked my 2 units on my last turn. Poor pitiful me. Whatever will I do? Oh, guess what? I got a Overlord. Now I'm gonna eat your shit, and then I'm gonna beat your face in because you decided to only lock 2 of my rear guards, because that's all I allowed you to have. You gotta play smart, guys. When you're playing this deck, it almost feels autopilot at times to play DOTE, but you have to be smart in how you use your resources and how you actually play this deck, depending on the matchup. And that was one of the things that I had to learn. I had to figure out was, how do I want to play around their strengths to match my strengths so that I can beat their strengths and punish them for it. Because where Joker's lock mechanic is their strength, it can also be their weakness, depending on what deck you're playing. And Kagero and Shadows just have a way to punish them for that. They still have a way to punish them for locking your units, because with Shadows and with Kagero, we don't care about our rear guards. Our Vanguard is what's going to be doing the work, whether it was Raging Form or as DOTE Dauntless or as DOTE in general. That restaining Vanguard is going to be what puts in work, and it does. It puts in work, and it gets in there and gets the job done. And so, like, I'm a huge fan of DOTE Dauntless. I'm a huge fan of DOTE and this deck, and I'm super excited for next month, guys, when we can actually add Nouvelle Vague to it. This is going to be a whole different iteration of this deck. This whole deck is going to look completely different. You're not even going to recognize it, and I'm super excited to be able to share that with you and explore that with you when we get down that road in 2 more weeks. This deck is going to see another overhaul when we get into reverse, because then I'm going to showcase you a reverse DOTE or Dauntless deck, and you're still going to see DOTE. You're still going to see my DOTE, because you're going to have Dauntless, you're going to have reverse, and then you're going to have DOTE, and then you're going to see like other little things coming into it. So it's going to be interesting, guys. I'm super excited to keep sharing these Kagero builds with you. And when I do finish Seal Dragons, I will do a Seal Dragon deck profile for you guys. It was just unfortunate that I did not get the pieces that I needed, because I only got 1 Weathercloth and I only got 1 Inferno. Everything else I've got. I just got to finish out the triple rares, but I've been too busy trying to save for Nouvelle Vague and get ready for that stuff. So once I get those finished, then it's going to be Seal Dragon time, baby, because Seal Dragons are still abusive. It is a very powerful and explosive deck, and I can't wait to showcase that with you guys. But this is all I got to say for today, guys. Again, I wanted to touch on this, explain that this deck is actually good, and forgive me for my negative rant the first time around about this deck, when it was just giving me such a hard time. Like, it took some time to play this deck out and just get it to do what I wanted it to do. And I finally found the formula. I finally found the rhythm and the cards that I wanted that make this deck work so well. And if you have any thoughts or opinions, guys, please, as always, drop them down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this deck. Let me know if you're running this deck, if you're running different cards, or what are you doing this, like, making you successful with this deck in the current format of Jokers, Revengers, and all these other crazy things that we're seeing right now. And as always, guys, please stay strong, stay healthy, and happy gaming.